Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Pray everyone is well. I just wanted just to share a few moments with you. The other week I was given a bayan, a lecture in one of the masjids in London here in the UK. And we were looking at the three Quls. Qul huwallahu ahad, Qul a'udhu birabbil falaq, and Qul a'udhu birabbin nas. And the Imam was actually reciting this in Salah, and then we just connected it to my talk in relation to the three Quls and the state of the world that we are in, with Heart-C International, the organization that I run, and the Qarub and the Kitab al-Qawl. So there's quite a lot there. And obviously, the total umbrella of Tawheed. And so, first of all, if we just look at the key principles of Heart-C. So Heart-C is the first principle is about rewiring how we see the world. And the second principle is about reconnecting with the natural world, with the ayah. And then the third principle is the rewilding. And then the fourth one is the redesigning, preparation for the reestablishment of the Khalifa, with those three conquests of Islam, comprehensive conquests of the self, the environment, and the natural world. And so Heart-C was born because of this crisis that we are seeing in the world today, this crisis of perception of how we see the world. Daily now we're being bombarded with information, distraction, social media. And obviously this is all a plot from Shaitan to flip us off the straight path. And we are operating, as I've said many times, just through the left brain hemisphere, where we're in this age of information overload. And we are just surrounded by things, objects, and we don't understand it. It's a fast pace of life, just like with social media. We're just flicking over, and we're not joining the dots. And this is harming us dramatically in every way. But our social, political, economic, our environmental systems are totally in this framework of seeing things in isolation, silos, a reductionist Descartes view of the world. And it's totally destroying humanity. And the trouble is also that 99.99% of humanity is now looking down. Again, this is a strategy of Shaitan, because once we look up, then we start to connect the dots. And that's what we need to do. There was a period before the 15th and 16th century where humanity saw the world in a completely different view. They saw everything in a holistic view, a connected view. And that included the Islamic civilization and our ulama. Our ulama were ulama stroke polymaths. And so we today have to change how we see the world. Hence, the first principle of Heart-C is about rewiring. So where do the three Quls come in? Okay, this is the sunnah of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that after Salat al-Fajr and Maghrib, we should recite these three Quls. And Qul huwallahu ahad, that is the foundation. That is the foundation. And then Qul a'udhu birabbil falaq with Qul a'udhu birabbin nas. These are the protectors for day and night, with the umbrella of Qul huwallahu ahad. Ahad just comes once in the Quran, not wahid, ahad. And that is the umbrella of Tawheed. La ilaha illallah. We have to understand La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. We are negating everything, all the asbab that we are surrounded by, and all of its forms. Okay, this is all just temporary. It is a test. La ilaha illallah. Okay, the only thing that exists is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have to first of all see it, to believe it, to understand it, and that's where the declaration comes in. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah means that I testify I have actually seen. And this is why throughout the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us, why don't you look? Why don't you observe? Why don't you see? Initially with these eyes and also with the hearing, but ultimately it is with the heart. This is where the heart now comes in. We say in Surah Al-Fatiha, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. You alone we worship and you alone we ask for help. Be careful here, my dear brothers and sisters. Do we really mean it? Because we are declaring the kalima. And at the end of Surah Al-Fatiha, there's two groups who had the opportunity to travel the straight path, but because of the self, because of the ego, they went away from the mizan. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then replaced them. And we now are in that position, but we are following the same road as them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. We ask for this guidance in Surah Al-Fatiha. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ اهْدِنَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, and He responds every time, 5 times a day. Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. The Kitab, the Quran, is the guidance. It's for you. But we don't want to have a relationship with the Quran because of all these distractions, this world that we are living in that is taking us away to in all other directions, to all other ilahs. Okay, La ilaha illa, there is only one who can help us. Okay, but we are being deflected to go to all of the other asbab, which is just a testing ground. And we have to be able to understand this and rewire how we see and how we think, because we have been wired up since around the 15th, 16th century. So we have to learn to unwire ourselves in order to then put the glasses on, which will enable us to see through the Quranic lens and not this worldview, this Western worldview of the Jadic lens, which sees things in its compartments. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ. That I have not created jinn and mankind illa, except to worship me. So 5 times a day we declare the Shahada, then we ask for guidance, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds with guidance is for the muttaqi. Okay, and it is the Quran. The Quran is what we need to, my dear brothers and sisters. We need to have a relationship with the Quran. What sort of relationship? Not just to recite, but most importantly to understand. The first ayat was revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the cave of Hira. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name of your Rabb who has created. The last word there, khalaq, is the verb, which is a transient verb. So here the message to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, is, because there's no object in that ayat, is whatever you see, O Prophet of Allah, this is all from me. Who is behind all this? Who has given this perfection, this order, this harmony? Perfectly designed system. Who is sustaining you? Who is sustaining everything? None other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Deliver that message. And as we say, that is the first ayat in Surah Al-Alaq, which is message to look at the macro, study the iqra, the macro. And then the second ayat, then it's to then turn to the self, the micro, macro, and micro. And it's all there, my dear brothers and sisters, in the Quran. It's all there in the Quran. And we have no way of having a relationship with the Quran unless we learn to rewire and change how we see, how we think. Because in this world of information, where we are just seeing things in silos, and we have no understanding, we're just seeing objects, then the Quran, it just looks like information where it should be transformation. The Quran just looks like information where it should be transformation. Look at the 4 missions given directly to the Prophet in Surah Jumu'ah. First, Yatlu alayhim, to recite on them. Then comes the Tazkir, which connects to the first principle of heart see, which is the rewiring. the tazkiyah al-nafs. The third principle, and it's the second one that we don't want to do, it's a struggle. It's not just for the month of Ramadan. It is the struggle until our last breath. The third and the fourth is then the ilm with the wisdom. Okay. So for us to have a relationship with the Quran, we've got to be able to see the Quran as it should be seen, and that not just to recite, but to understand. Okay. Remember, the Quran came to penetrate the hearts over 23 years. First of all, it was embedded in the heart of the Prophet himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when we talk about the heart, we're not talking about the pumping heart, we're talking about the qalb, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this in the Quran, the importance of the qalb. And when we are in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Qiyamah, the qalb selling will be the only thing which will help us, the contented heart. And how the Prophet himself said that there was a piece of flesh. If that piece of flesh is secure, okay, and correct, then the rest of the body is also. So we have to connect with the Quran, not just for the month of Ramadan that's coming, but for always. We do not need BBC. We do not need Sky News. We do not need CNN. We do not need news channels, my dear brothers and sisters. All of our news is in the Quran. What's happened before is in the Quran. What is happening now is in the Quran. What's going to happen in the future is in the Quran. But we can't see. If we can't see, then we can't think. So we need to make not just tafakkur, we need to make tadabbur of the Quran. Then, my dear brothers and sisters, Tawheed will come alive. Tawheed, when we look at it linguistically, the word, it means unification. Everything is unified. So when we look at the Kitab al-Kawn, the book of nature, all of the ayats in relation to the universe, to the natural world, which are embedded in the revelation, which is a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to us to see, to ponder on, in order to what? To see the names of, and the beautiful names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he wants to be known, and he is known through his manifestations of his creation. Then if we open our eyes, then we can say, yes, I have seen. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. That's what we need to do. And to help us along the way, connect the three Quls, okay? Because this age of information, this age of distraction, which is all coming from shaitan, this Dajjalic system, which has disconnected us from the divine, it's a whole world which is full of sounds and whispers. This is a battle. It is a battle that we are in. Don't forget it. It is a battle of hearts and minds. It is a battle directly with shaitan. Shaitan wants to enter our bodies through our eyes and through our ears. That's the last surah, all the Biologist. Remember, Iblis is in our chest. That's also there in the last surah. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَٰهِ النَّاسِ مِنْ شَرِّ الْوَسْوَاسِ الْخَنَّاسِ الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ. It's in the chest. He just wants to go a little bit further and to enter the heart, enter the qalb. Then he's taken over. That then becomes our God. Oh, we have to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have the opportunity. The month of Ramadan is knocking. Make your relationship with the Quran. And inshallah ta'ala, then that first ayah, because the Quran will not open up unless we become the muttaqi. Okay, Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Who are the muttaqi? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals in the next ayah, those who believe in the unseen. Okay, today, if you can't see it, then it's not real. That's science. That's the Western world view, totally divorced from the divine. That's the tinted glasses that we are wearing, that we've been told to wear for many years. We need to rewire ourselves and put on the Quranic lens in order to see reality. The reality is La ilaha illallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.